Hello, this is Billy Core from the Nostalgia Mall, and today we're going to be putting this computer back in service. This is the Dell Dimension 8200. This was my aunt's daily driver from December of 2001 when she bought it new until I believe January of 2008 when she upgraded to her Dell XPS 720, which is sadly no longer with us. This, on the other hand, is still with us, and as far as I know, still running great. It's been in storage for about a year or so, maybe, because I just haven't had a use for it, but I do now. I've been a little bit nostalgic, not much, for the early to mid 2000s era computers. I have absolutely no nostalgia for the 2000s itself. That was not a very good decade for me. Except, I met a couple of good friends in that decade, along with getting into 90s nostalgia at that same time. But other than that, that decade was just a write-off for me. But the technology from there is still pretty cool, and I am a little bit nostalgic for it. So I thought, you know what? Let's build ourselves a early Windows XP era time capsule. And this would be a good candidate. It was between this and my Dell Dimension 2350, one of my favorite computers of all time. But I thought, let's give the 2350 a little bit of a rest and use this one for a while, just for the fun of it. It's actually going to be a dual boot setup. It's going to have XP on there, but it's also going to have Windows 98 because this is going in my bedroom, and at the moment I really don't have a good 98 box in there, so this computer will serve two purposes for being an XP time capsule and a 98 machine, because why not? Specs of this computer: I believe it has a 2 GHz Intel Pentium 4, a Willamette era chip, 512 megs of RAM, which is unfortunately RAM bus memory, so upgrading this is not easy as far as memory is concerned. Originally had an 80 gigabyte hard drive, but when my aunt gave this to me, she kept the hard drive out of this for privacy reasons. But we are going to be adding another 80 gigabyte hard drive into the system, so it'll be like nothing ever happened. And it also has a NVIDIA GeForce 3 in it, a very nice video card for the time, and a Turtle Beach surround sound card, which I'm hoping to keep in this, assuming that it has fairly good DOS support in Windows 98. If it doesn't, I do have a plan B. Missing from this computer, these are parts that I've had to harvest out of here over the past year or so for other projects. It's missing the hard drive, both optical drives, and a power supply. And so we're going to be adding this 80 gigabyte hard drive that came out of my Pentium 2 system you saw not long ago. I've actually parted it out already because the case is going to be sent off for a trade for something really cool that I think you guys will like. More on that at a later date. So I'll be putting that in here. I already put the rails for this case on it. I'm going to be adding 2 optical drives, a CDRW drive, and a DVD-ROM drive. This computer originally had a DVD-ROM drive and a CDRW drive, but those are long gone. These are not original to the system, but it's the same type that would have been in here, so no one's going to notice. And of course a power supply. This is actually the power supply that was in this computer when I got it. Back in 2010, when my aunt was using this as a secondary computer, the original power supply to the system went out on it, so in late 2010 she sent it over here for me to have a look at it. So I went and bought a new power supply for it and put it in, and it's been working just fine in it ever since for the last 10 years. Of course, for the last few months it's not been in this computer, but we'll let that be our little secret. Okay, let's get started. Of course, with this being a one of those weird clamshell Dell towers from the 2000s, it's a little bit weird to open it. You just gotta hold these 2 buttons down, one on the top, one on the bottom. Ah! coming out on camera or not, but we are now open. Okay, just a quick little tour of the inside. There's our processor right under here that I'm not going to open right now because I think that fan might come off and I'll be spending all day putting it back on. There's our NVIDIA GeForce 3, our Turtle Beach sound card, a USB 2.0 card that I added in it when I got this computer back at the end of 2018. And way down there, you can't see it, is a Ethernet card, which is original to the system. There's our 512 megs of RAM bus memory. Yuck. That did not last long. And I'm very glad. There's the back of it. We've got our serial parallel to PS2 mouse and keyboard, 2 USB 1.1 ports, and there's our expansion cards. So we don't have to do much to the system, we just got to add the 2 optical drives, a hard drive, and the power supply. So we'll go ahead and start off with the power supply first. This is an SFP 350 watt power supply. Nothing too fancy, but for a system like this, it does just fine. Screwdriver, little notches you can line it up with. There we go. They'll hold it in place long enough to get the screws in. A lot easier than some other computers with power supplies. You have to hold it in with your hand while screwing it in. It can be quite cumbersome, but this one's pretty simple. In fact, you only need 3 screws, really. Okay, power supply is secure. Okay, I went on ahead and connected the motherboard power connections off camera. So let's go ahead and slide our optical drives in. If I can get it lined up properly. There we go, that's the DVD drive. And that's the CD-RW drive. So we'll go ahead and connect our connectors. Here's the CD audio connector for the DVD drive. And, oh yeah, we can't forget the power connections. Go. Hopefully that DVD-ROM works. I ordered it off eBay. It says it supposedly works, so take that as you will. And plug the floppy drive up to power. Go. And now for the IDE. Come on. You can do it. Go. That's the CD-RW, and now for the DVD drive. There we go. Okay, last thing we need to do is install the hard drive. Okay, just like the optical drive, should just slide on in. IDE. Hopefully Hopefully I got the jumper settings right. That's the one thing I don't miss about IDE drives, setting those stupid jumpers. No hard drive and computer was the same when it came to that. Okay, stuff that one down there. Okay, we can go ahead and close this back up. For the most part, these plastic bits are a little bit broken, so it doesn't close exactly like it did when it was new. So one thing I don't like about these clamshell cases that Dell had, they're very, very particular about how they close and open. Okay, it's best we're going to get. Okay, got it hooked up to the test bench. Why is there a blinking amber LED on there? Let's see what happens. What on earth is going on here? It's like it's in some kind of weird standby mode. I've never seen it do that before. It's just, I can hold it down for a few seconds and it will stop. Well, I thought it did. But then once you press the button again, it just starts doing the blinking amber LED again. I don't know if there's a power connection problem. I'm going to have to look into this. Okay, looks like pulling the CMOS battery out seems to have fixed it, so I'm going to put the battery back in and plug some stuff back up and we'll proceed. Yes, that is a much happier looking computer. It's a weird issue there, but at least it's working now. I don't know what the problem was, but pulling the battery out and putting it back in seems to have fixed it. Okay, we're in the system setup now. It took a while to get through the detecting IDE drive phase, but everything seems to have been picked up. 80 gig hard drive and 2 CD drives. And it is definitely not September 18th, 2001. I can tell you that right there. Time is about 2, I'd say 2:42 p.m. And the date is May the 7th, I believe, of 2020. And it is indeed a Thursday, so I did get that right. CPU information, let's see what we got here. We got a, 2 gigahertz Pentium 4. USB emulation on, USB controller on, just making sure everything's set up properly since I had to take the battery out. Probably don't need to be messing with any of that. Okay, fast boot on, suspend mode. Asset tag is not there for some reason. And BIOS has never been updated. So there we go. It's probably going to boot into the Windows 98 install that was on a Pentium 2 system. Or just hang there. Yep, there it is. and I'm just going to shut it off right there because we've done all we need to do over here at the workbench. Okay, I got the Dell hooked up in place of the Carolina Flyer just for today to get things set up. It's a little bit more comfortable over here. And I got a Acronis OS selector floppy disk in here, so go ahead and power her up. There we go, that's pretty. Presumably it should boot right off the floppy. The boot order hasn't been changed. Okay, we're booting. This is a fun little computer to tinker around with, I have to say. First, let's run Disk Administrator. So I want to go ahead and delete the Windows 98 install that's already on here. So we can make a fresh one for it and XP. Here's our OS partition. I also have a data partition there too for game data and documents and goodies like that. But for now, I will just delete the partition because I want to install Acronis OS selector to the hard drive. Hopefully I remember how to do this. It's been a while since I've done a dual boot like this before. Okay. I would rather it go to its own partition if possible. Maybe if I was to hide the data partition I have on here, maybe we can deal with that, because it takes a long time to copy all these game files over to a hard drive, because there's a lot on here, and I really don't want to delete all this and redo. So maybe if I just hide it, it will be okay. Still wants to install to the files partition. Okay, I didn't want to fool with working around that data partition, so I just deleted it. It's not the end of the world. I can just add it back. It may take a few hours, but no big deal. So we'll go ahead and install it to its own partition. Installation program does not found a partition suitable for OS selector installation. Nice quality control there, guys. Okay, it looks good to me. So now it's going to boot back into the installation. We can just go ahead and install it. Simple as that. Okay, install there. Okay, it's installed, so I'll go ahead and eject the disk. Okay to that, no to that. And here we are. And this is running off the hard drive now, so we'll go to Disk Administrator and do some partitioning. Let me figure out how I want to size everything. So I'm going to go with a 22.15 gig NTFS partition. Go. Set it as active. And we'll label it. Where's the label? Oh, there it is. Win XP. Just so we'll know what we're dealing with when we get into Windows Setup. And we'll create a 22 gig FAT32 partition for Windows 98. And we'll label it Win 98. Okay. Hopefully I did the partitioning properly. Oh, and we'll create a 30 gig partition for our files and other data. Go. Did not mean to put that there. Okay, we'll let it do its thing. Okay, it detected we have a new NTFS partition and is wondering what OS it is going to be. And it's going to be Windows XP Home Edition. Why Home Edition? Well, I'll show you in a moment. Here we go. Now I have most, if not all, the installation media required for this computer that came with it originally, including a backup of Dell installed programs with antivirus and support software, Easy CD Creator 5.1 Basic, and the Dell Dimension Resource CD. And of course, Windows XP Home Edition for distribution with a new Dell PC only. And we'll move to the back and we have a reinstallation CD that I don't know if it's ever even been used or not. So that's what we're going to install XP with since it's original. Okay, this is going to be a good test to see if the new DVD drive I got for this computer works. Opens, although a bit yucky sounding. Closes pretty quick. And this version of XP is the RTM version from 2001 with no service packs whatsoever. This is the very original release of Windows XP. So we'll see what it does with this. Okay, NTLDR is missing. Figured so. So we'll go into the boot menu. Okay, did that register? Okay. IDE CD-ROM device. Fingers crossed that this drive works. Oh my goodness. That's horrifying. That is horrifying. Why am I still letting it go? I wonder. This is, I mean, it seems like it's working, it just sounds awful. It's still loading stuff. It sounds better now, but I guess when it first winds up, it sounds like a garbage disposal going through a garbage disposal, going through another garbage disposal. At least it didn't damage the CD so far. Ugh. That's horrible. I mean, I'm probably being really stupid right now letting it continue this way, but I am a pretty stupid person, so. Okay, there's all our partitions, so we're going to use the XP partition here. And just because I don't quite trust Cronus's way of formatting, I'm going to reformat it with XP itself using NTFS Quick. And the reason we're using an actual CD this time to install XP rather than an easy-to-boot flash drive is because this computer lacks USB booting, and even though I could use a plop boot floppy to enable it to boot from USB, it's USB 1.1, and that is painfully slow for something like this. So we're just going to do it the old-fashioned way with a CD. And let it copy everything over. It's not making any horrible racket right now, so that's good. Okay, file copy process is done, so we'll go ahead and let it restart. Here comes the CD drive again, I think. Nope. Maybe next time. It does concern me, that horrible noise it was making. And there it goes again. That's disgusting, isn't it? I don't know what is causing it. I mean, all it is just loud. It's nothing, it's not really doing anything to where it can't read the disc, so I don't know, maybe it's just being really loud. Here comes the GUI portion of setup. I know this process oh too well. Oh, will you please be quiet? Okay, let's see if we get a full resolution. Nope. Close enough. I don't know if the video card will be picked up or not. Usually is, but this is an early Windows XP version, so it might not. Oh, that sounds awful. I don't know why I'm not as concerned as I should be. No intro music either. I think if we were using a later service pack, we'd get video and audio, but we're not. No, I do not want to register. My name is Billy, even though it's not really any of your business, Windows. Okay, here we are. This is the first time I've used a version of Windows pre-Service Pack 2 in years, actually. Let's see what drivers are installed or not installed, I guess. The network card is detected, but other than that, that's it. So we'll go ahead and eject the OS CD. Okay, drive is not ejecting. We may have some bad belts. I'm starting to consider maybe getting my money back for this. There we go. Yeah, disk is not damaged at all, which is good. And now we need our Dell Resource CD. Which is this boy right here. Be interesting if it also has Windows 98 drivers on here. That would be quite helpful. Oh my goodness! Uh-oh. device is not ready, huh? This may have been taking it too far. So let's put it back in and see. Goodness gracious, that's horrible. That is awful. Yeah, it's... I think... Yeah, it's acting like there's no disk in the drive now. I think we're starting to ask too much of this drive. Yeah, I think I'm going to be getting my money back for this. And the CDRW drive on the bottom is having trouble too, it looks like. Well, that looks hideous, doesn't it? I normally do not like putting the opposite color optical drive in a computer, but at this point I have no other option at all, because the one I got from eBay, the DVD-ROM drive, is just completely dead now, making horrible noises, won't read any disk, and the eBay listing says no returns, but the listing also did say that the drive works great. So hopefully because of that I can get a refund on that. I sure hope so. And the bottom optical drive here, the CDRW drive, does not work at all either, so I'm just going to leave this in here for the time being just to fill this gap right here. But this, I cannot stand having it set up like this. I just cannot, but this is the only way that we're going to get a functioning optical drive today, unfortunately. I do know for a fact that this drive does work, so go ahead and open it. Of course, sometimes the drive doesn't like to eject, and you have to prod a little bit. This is going to be the future of vintage computing, unfortunately, when it comes to computers with optical drives. Optical drives fail easily as they get older. And since they're not making new IDE optical drives, or even SATA drives for that matter, it's going to be hard finding these things. So, yeah, we got to come up with a solution for that. But hey, at least this is working, even though it doesn't look right. Don't understand how the XP installation went so successfully on such a broken drive. Sure hope I get my money back. It's only 12 bucks, but still. Okay, Dell Resource, Dimension 8200, and what OSs do we have it, out of curiosity? Okay, it does have 98 on there. What drivers it has for 98, I do not know yet. Oh yeah, on early versions of XP, it begged you to add a .NET password. Very, very annoying at times. So, we will add, is there a, does it already have the chipset stuff on here, I wonder? Yeah, add new hardware wizard. Yes, it does, so we don't have to worry about the chipset. We just need to worry about the video and the audio. Audio is on a separate CD. Go ahead and install the driver. I know it's not the latest, but it's what originally came with this, and it should work just fine. Okay, we'll restart later. Let's see what else is on here. Neat, cool applications. Dell help and support customizations. Oh, why not? Not exactly sure what this does, but doubt it's going to hurt anything. And Dell Solution Center, I think that might already be on here. but we'll install it anyway. And we'll restart later because I want to go ahead and install the sound card, which uses its own CD. It's a Turtle Beach Santa Cruz sound card. And we will insert that. This was a pretty high-end card for the time. I'm hoping when I install it in Windows 98, the sound support for DOS will be not only there, but sound semi-accurate. Okay, weird error there, but run setup. And these drivers are very hard to find for this card as well, so I might consider uploading the ISO for the sound card software onto archive.org for anyone who needs a copy of this but can't find it. He's found some new hardware, it looks like. Okay, see a very interesting sound icon there. Okay, looks like it's ready to go. So I think we can go ahead and restart. Hey, we got some sound. That's always good. Lovely sound. Okay, perhaps the video needs to be adjusted on its own, and yes. There we go, full resolution. That's what we want to see. Now let's check our device manager and see if everything is now accounted for. Look at that, no mention of a service pack. Those were the old days. Okay, everything's accounted for except for probably the USB PCI card I have in here, but I'm not really going to worry about that at the moment. But video and sound and chipset is all good to go, as well as network. So, let's make an attempt at installing Windows 98. Okay, when we installed Windows XP, it disabled the Acronis OS selector boot up, so I booted back into the boot floppy for Acronis, and we're just going to select Activate, and I think that's all we need to do, so we'll go ahead and eject the disk. There we go, that took care of it. And so now we want to boot from within Acronis OS selector, and yes, I know I keep hitting the tripod, I apologize for that. I'm going to use a Windows 98 boot floppy. So we want to boot from within Acronis so we don't have any weird partitioning problems. So we'll tell it to boot from floppy disk drive A. And this is just your standard issue Windows 98 boot floppy, nothing special here. And we'll boot with CD-ROM support. Let it do its thing. Okay, now we're just going to reformat the C drive. Now, with this being a DOS-based OS, it is not going to acknowledge the existence of the XP partition since it's NTFS. But it does see the FAT32 partitions that we created earlier within Acronis, so we are going to do a quick format of the C drive, which is the 98 partition, /Q for quick, and /S to make it bootable. And this will probably break Acronis OS selector's boot up again, but we can always fix that with the boot floppy again like we did earlier. And yes, We'll label it Windows 98. Now I'm feeling a little bit fancy today. Let's use this original 98 SC CD with Plus built into it. We'll pop that on in. Don't use this one much. Usually use a copy. But we'll go ahead and do this the proper way, and that's make a Windows directory on the C drive, and then a options directory within that, and then a cabs directory within that. Then we'll move over to that and copy from the Windows 98 directory on the disk drive, on the CD. Hopefully this is the right drive letter. And it is. So we'll let that copy. Hey, this drive's the wrong color, but at least it doesn't sound like a garbage disposal going through a garbage disposal, going through a garbage disposal, going through a garbage disposal, going through a garbage disposal. Okay, everything's copied over. And from this point on, it's just a basic Windows 98 SC install. Okay, Cronus did pick this up as a DOS 7.1 install. And so we will go to where we copied the files over a while ago from the disk and start setup. Okay, 98 installed just fine, and I've already reactivated a Cronus OS selector. So let's make an attempt to use this Dell Resource CD on here and see if it works on 98. It should, but whether it'll have drivers or not, we'll have to find out. Oh yeah, this drive likes to randomly eject at times. So hard to find good optical drives, I swear. There we go. Same thing as it was in XP, basically. Okay, let's see if we can do this without restarting. Okay, apparently we do need to restart. Okay, rebooted. Let's see if this works now. Sure hope so. Okay, good. Oh yeah, we got a lot of goodies here. Except we just have the network and the chipset. I'm not seeing video card. I might have to manually find the driver for that. I'll go ahead and do the chipset. This is pretty simple. And we'll restart later. I'll probably regret that. And now for the network. Yeah, it wants us to manually do it, no big deal. So we'll go to Device Mangler, and we'll specify the directory. Such an exciting video, isn't it? Okay, why isn't it? Oh, there we go. We'll use that. And this network card is original to the system. There's no onboard network on the motherboard. Yeah, might as well go ahead and restart. Okay, I have all the drivers installed. I was able to get to the video card driver by switching the resource CD from 98 to ME, and that worked just fine. So, and I've also got the sound card installed. And so, moment of truth, I've copied over Skyroad's Christmas special, and we're going to see what it sounds like. Fingers crossed. Not too bad, I must say. Sounds a little bit different, but not too different. I think I can manage this. That sounds good. I mean, it's not exactly accurate, but it's good enough for me, for a computer like this at least. This isn't a high-use computer, so no big deal. Okay, we are back in Windows XP, and we're now going to install Service Pack 2. And some of my fondest memories of Windows XP come from the Service Pack 2 era. Now for this system, we are not going to go to Service Pack 3 or beyond, because that would bog this system down a little too much, and I'm not going to be taking this on the internet. So Service Pack 2 should be the sweet spot. Okay, don't need it to back up anything, but it's going to anyway. So we'll let it do its thing here. Well, it's been several days now, and I've got the Dell Dimension 8200 set up the way I want it to. Still using the beige optical drive for now, but I've got a new one on order that I should get either tomorrow or the next day. So hopefully it'll look less obnoxious than it does now. So yeah, I've got it KVM'd with my Gateway 2000 P590 using this setup right here. It's a very nice little handsome looking setup, I must say. And I've got everything installed on both Windows 98 and Windows XP. Only thing it's missing right now, not other than the proper optical drive, is an Ethernet cable. Believe it or not, I've run out of them. I need to go get some more. So right now, no network access on it at the moment, but I'm going to see if I can go by Walmart tomorrow and get a cheap little Ethernet cable, and that should take care of that problem. Not that I'm ever really going to use the internet on here, but it is still nice to have for file shares and connecting to network time servers online, good stuff like that. So we'll go ahead and power it up. Looking good. And it's going to boot into Acronis in a moment. Go. We will start with Windows XP right now. One change I did make to this computer since you last saw it a while ago in this video is the 80 gig hard drive was not big enough to hold 2 operating systems and all my data on, so I added a second 100 gig hard drive to keep all my data on. It's Probably not that necessary, but it does work and get the job done well. Okay, here's how I have the desktop set up on Windows XP. I've got a few games on here, including a bunch of hard truck 18 wheels of steel games that I used to play as a teenager. Haven't played those in years, but I do have them installed on here and the Carolina XP machine out in the office, so need to give them a try sometime soon. And here's Start menu, full of all kinds of goodies. And we see we're running Service Pack 2 now. Also added the OEM info. And we have a nice clean device manager. And you can also see my drive set up here. I got two almost equal size partitions on the 80 gig drive for XP and 98, and this 100 gig drive that I have formatted for FAT32. That way both 98 and XP can access it. And just for the fun of it, here is Microsoft Work Suite 2002. Don't think it originally came on this computer, but let's just say it did. Okay, let's reboot and take a quick look at Windows 98. Okay, let's see what Windows 98 has to offer. And I'll do a more in-depth software tour of this computer at a later date, because I have a feeling this video is going to be a bit of a long one, and some people like the long videos, some people don't. Me personally, I don't know. Even got some DOS. Okay, the camera quit recording because it does not really care for this SD card I'm using. For some reason it says it. Okay, I apologize for that again. It's my camera's just acting all kinds of crazy right now. And that was loud. Okay, hopefully the camera will cooperate now. It doesn't like this SD card for some reason. So, here we are in Windows 98. It's a lot more of a more retro setup on here. And this likes to pop up every now and then when you have Work Suite installed. Congratulations, your computer came pre-installed with Microsoft Work Suite 2002. Isn't that lovely? And I forgot to mention that the keyboard I'm using for this is a keyboard that's almost exactly the same as the one I used on my Dell Dimension 2350 back in the day. Only difference is that the one I used back then was a blue color up here, whereas this one's gray. But other than that, functionality and layout is exactly the same. It's a Microsoft multimedia keyboard. And it also has software that lets you have hotkeys for volume control, and this works in both 98 and XP just fine. There's even a button for my documents, my pictures, and my music, and media player, which opens the Windows 98 Deluxe CD player. And there's also a button for the calculator. Very nice. We take a look at the device manager, and everything is accounted for except the USB 2.0 driver. A lot of times if I install a USB 2.0 driver in Windows 98, it renders the system completely unbootable, so it's not quite worth the risk for that. And that is for the expansion card with the USB ports. Regular USB ports work just fine on here. I got all kinds of older games on here, and I don't know if I've shown this yet or not, but the MIDI on the sound card sounds absolutely beautiful. And I will give you an example. Yeah, these Turtle Beach Santa Cruz sound cards have some excellent sounding MIDI support. So I don't know how rare these things are, but if you find one of these sound cards, give it a try. Well, I hope you enjoyed this long video about this nice little computer, the Dell Dimension 8200. Until next time, this is Billy Core, signing off. Thank you for visiting the Nostalgia Mall. If you liked what you saw, please like, subscribe, and follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You may also support me on Patreon if you would like. Until next time, this is Billy Core, signing off.